Hello, and welcome back to Out of Ore, the most excellent mining simulation game. Here we are today. This is what I've set up so far. Various refineries, what have you. Got a bit of money in the bank, 93 million, very high. I'm king of the Klondike with my experience levels. Now, one of my viewers, a guy called Edwin, said to me, start mining oil. So I've started mining oil, and I've set this up so far, and it's, yeah, it's okay, I guess. And I decided I'm going to take it a little bit further. So I laid down this base area. Now, mostly this is put in place to allow me to dig this area out and flatten it down. And I intend to build a very big refinery here. I've already started. I mean, this bit you can see here is my first attempt, and it's just there's 3 oil rigs there working. And then I thought I'd start ramping it up. So I've already gone ahead and built these 3, and I've also built this area of land out. Now, one of the things we've got around here with oil pumps, they need to be sat on a coal base. And this area where I've chosen to do this, there isn't a lot of coal, but I've found a neat trick. You can make your own coal seams, which is what I've done here. Well, it's what I've done in all of these, to be honest. But this one I did as an experiment to find out what the minimum amount of coal you have to put down. And it turns out that you need a bed at least 1 block deep and 2 blocks wide. And then the game is perfectly happy to allow you to mine oil on it. Anyway, so that's that. You'll see how this works as we move along. But the next thing we're going to do is we are going to extend this. And I want to take this as far as I can this way before we start heading that way. Just for more statistics, I am generating from this. So we got, how many have we got going in there? So we've got 3 pumps working, and I am currently here. That's generating me 66 barrels of oil every second. Let's get that going a bit faster. Now, I believe you can put somewhere between 12 and 15 pumps up to a single refinery. That, by the way, the thing that we just looked at is a refinery. And basically, you take from oil pump, go to refinery, and then over here, behind the refineries, whoops. So there's the refinery again, side view. And we end up here in a liquid tank where we do the storage. Each barrel of oil is worth about $64. So this has been running a little while. You can see I've got a considerable amount of money in there already, just running with the few pumps I have here. So it's obviously going to be very profitable. So what do I want to do? I want to extend this, as I said, further, which means I'm going to have to dig this out. So I want to extend this area this way. So I'm going to put down some more ground. We'll build to grid. And when you're doing this, building to grid is quite important. There we go. Yep. Stop being an absolute tit. Yeah, let's build it from on the ground. And I've trapped myself. Great start. Done it again. You'll see why I'm doing this in a minute, because one of the things you have to do with this is you've got to make sure that you have a base, or it becomes very, very fiddly to get everything to line up. And you must make sure that the base is aligned to the voxel. Hence why I'm not using these thin torf floor tiles. They don't actually align to the voxel properly, and if you start lining your equipment up on them, you'll get into all sorts of trouble trying to keep the angles. Your conveyors won't connect, and you will just get into hours and hours of pain of not being able to make things connect properly. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and right hand piece there, and then I want to put a merger. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room to do this. So we'll pick a merger. Yeah. And I want a left. That should allow me to put 2 more pumps in, and I don't think I can possibly fit another 2 pumps in here. Might be able to get 1 in. One of those. Can I get a merger in here? That's a straight, I want a merger. Might just do this actually. Want a left. Yeah, we're just going to be able to fit that in. Now I want to go back to my blocks. Too far out that way. So what we're doing is we're building up a bunker here. You only need it 1 level deep, but I'm just doing this for tidiness. It's starting to look quite nice. That block ready to are over, so get rid of those. Here. Pop a block in under that corner. Okay, I think that'll do for that. Back up here. This wall here can go. Well, actually, before we do that, let's put the floor in. Now, we will go over to the tiles for the floor. Got those there. They're on 0. I want the tiles there. I say it only has to be 1 deep. This does become quite fiddly. Just grab that one back. You've got to remember, these things are expensive. Not that money's an issue these days for me on this game. But we'll have that one back. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's our floor. That's our floor put down. Let's get rid of this barrier. And that's that gone. Now we're going to fill this up with coal. So let's go grab our coal. Inventory. Coal. 2,480 coal. And we're just going to fill this area in with coal. Well, this being a slow process, I'll just carry on and fill up this hole with coal, and I'll see you back here in a minute. Okay, so that's the back wall filled in. And it's quite important that you get that filled right up to the edge. If you've got holes, this trick doesn't work. Anyway, I'll now do the side. And that's that edge filled out. So we've got our edges fairly closely filled in. And now it's just a case of filling up in the middle. Put a little bit more out up here, I think. Go. So make sure it's just, I just like it being overflowed all around the edges. We sort all of this out later. Now obviously this all does take a little bit of time, and that's just the way of the world. But then if you're going to be cheating as blazingly as I am with doing this, you know, you're basically making the game do something it's not really intended to do. All right, so now I'll just fill the middle in, and then we'll get on with building some pumps. Right, so we've got our coal pit set up. Oh, yeah, it's 1 deep. And quite wide. I can't remember, I think it's 5 blocks. So let's go put some oil pumps in. Come up here. Stand about here. Let's get up on here. It helps to stand on the grid you're trying to attach to of anything when you're doing this sort of thing. So it's select a pump. And the reason I set these out on the concrete is that will allow alignment to the grid to be much easier. See how these things are just snapping in nicely? And that's because they're using the alignment of these U-pipes, or not, these bend pipes, like that. So we've got 4 pumps set up now. So we've just over doubled, and that's taken about 20 minutes to do all of that. Now we need to join these two rigs up together. From here, I want to come out with a left. There's a left. I want a right there. We go. No. That's it. Don't want a merger there. Doesn't really matter where I put it. If I put a merger in here. This is a shame. It's one of the things the game needs. It needs a merger with a pass-through on it. Otherwise, you have to end up building these crazy, very space-consuming merging of pipe blocks. I need a 4 to go in there. 0. Straight 4 goes in there. Got our merger coming out here. That's going to need to go into a merger over here. Come out from a left on this one. Left. Yep. Get an 8. We select the straight 8. This way. That'll get us most of the way over here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to get rid of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a merger in here. Hopefully this will sit properly. Merger there. I want a 4. That'll do. And another 4. 2. Now, do we have oil flow? No, we're not going to have any oil flow because none of those pumps are doing anything. And they're not taking power from anything. So what I'll do next is the power converter in. Now, power transfer on oil rigs is odd. It really is. Sometimes they will share power, sometimes they will not. Power. That's cool. And just for the time being, I'm just going to chuck a windmill in here. There, so if I get into the inventory, we'll sort all the power out at another point. Windmill there. Just drag a cable from there. Go straight in here. Connect that. Switch that on. Switch on. That's far more power than we actually need. I just want to get this lot going. Switch you on. See, that's only taking 200 kilowatts. Tells me none of these working. Oh, because I'm an idiot. That's why. Because I'm an idiot, that is why that's not working. So I've plugged it into the wrong thing. Don't kill the pump, just take that out. And then pop that there. Now we'll go for a cable. Cable. Fit that over here. Go. Switch that on. Switch that on. That has got... That's got all 4 of those working. Let's just check each one. E. Right, you're producing 20 barrels. You're producing 20 barrels. 20. 20. Right, so if we come to this part of our pipe, we should see here 80 barrels. And we've got 80 barrels. That's a good start, and that was not that painful to do. So the next thing I've got to do is we've now got to connect these 2 pumps in. So this is going to work. How is this going to work? Yeah, well, actually what I do need to do is I need to replicate what I've got going on down there. It would be nice to get this little bit of extra oil I've got going on these two pumps to be coming in, because I'm losing money at the moment. Oh, I am making money, but all right, 3, let's get rid of you. Let's get rid of you. What I need to do here is I want a left. I want a merger. Okay, I had a little think. What I'm actually trying to do here is I'm basically all of this from there into the old refinery was a sort of a just a stopgap whilst I was doing other things and what have you. Now I've got those 4 pumps working nicely down there. I need to concentrate on getting these 4 pumps working together, and that's going to mean rejigging all of this, probably getting rid of some of this stuff, but just for the time being I'm going to concentrate on just getting another pump in here and getting this as another 4 pump segment of my network running. So what do I need to do here? We obviously need some coal, so let's start knocking the floor out. Okay, right, what I've done here is I've already built my coal bunker, which I just filled in to make the game look neater for the introduction, but let's get rid of this. There we go. Let's just knock all of that out. We'll build up the coal bunker. We'll play pipes a bit later on. You know, I'm still producing more oil than I was at the start. Is good. Do this more intelligent. Let's go over here. Let's start knocking it out from this corner. Under here, you'll see I've got planking here. Back when I was experimenting, that's where my first oil rig went in. That's how I knew I could lay down the coal in this manner. So I know I can put a pump there already. Okay, that's cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to fill this area in with coal. Ooh, that's not good. Zero. Fill that space in. Oh. Anyway, let me do that and I'll get back to you. That area totally filled in with coal. Hopefully that will allow us to now do this. So I want to put a right-hander in there. We're back to our piping now. There. Bit. That. Behave yourself. I want space, and then I want a left. That's too close. No good. Merger. Oh, you went in the right place. And then all right. See? There it's. Fine. So that pump's now just working. To the left. Here. Right. Merger in. Gosh, come on. Spin round, you bastard. Spin. Merger there. Right, well that's the pipes laid in. Now I have to admit here, this is actually video part 2. I did carry on the last session and pump this up and pipe all of this up and finish it. And then I got into a hell of a mix-up with pipes not pumping and a whole load of stuff, which was very confusing. And anyway, I found out what's going on, so I'll quickly go through that before we continue. It's all down to power distribution. Now, let's have a look here. What we have here, let's get that onto the shovel so you can see what I'm looking at. The power distributor I'm running here is a 5-speed. Now you've got to remember these pipes, when you put them in on a 1-speed, they're 30. Right, let's have a look at a pipe first. So if we come here and we look at the pipe, see down at the bottom it says pipeline speed. Now normally on a 1-speed that will give you 30 meters a second. On a 3-speed that gives you 90 meters a second, and on a 5-speed it gives you 150 meters a second. Now how that translates into the game is my pumps produce 20. So here I've got two 20s, which gives me 40 here. So that's 40. That's under 150. We're fine. We come up here, we join into this one, and we're 80 because we've joined in with that one. So 40, 40, 80, still under 150. Come up here, and because we've got 80 coming on to another 80, that gives us 160. But we're only 150. So we're only processing 150, and I'm accruing 10 barrels of oil a second. It's held up in the pipe. So what we need to do here is come here and delete that. Inventory, we'll put a 10 speed in. I've got one in my slot anyway. So 10 speed, where are you? 10 speed. And I want to plug a 10 speed in there. And then we'll wire that up. And we'll go here. And we'll come and switch this on. Switch that on. And now when we come and look at our pipes, we've got 300 meters per second, which means that now when we come here, we no longer have a backup. So I'm now producing 160 barrels, which gives me 140 barrels spare capacity in the pipeline. Okay, that's pretty cool, you say. But let me tell you about another problem. There is a known bug in the game with the 10-speed power transformers. Whenever you quit the game and come back in, these are switched off. You have to go around and switch all your 10 speeds on. I've mentioned it before in videos. So that's a bit of a pain. Given that I wanted to set this up as an evergreen resource that's just going to run, that I don't have to manage very often, only when I'm emptying the oil out of it, it kind of spoils it a bit. And I'm not going to bother about that too much at the moment, but I do have some ideas about how you get around this. But this does set a physical limit in the game for 300 barrels of oil per mass rig drilling operation. And that will limit us to 15 pumps. And at the moment we have 4, I think that's 8 going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah, we're up to 8, which gives us 160 barrels. Exactly. Okay, so we're going to carry on over here. Now, the other thing to bear in mind here, let's just have a look at our power consumption. So our grid load is 2,130 watts, kilowatts. We have got more than enough here. You can add as many of these power converters on as you like and attach them to as many power sources, windmills in this case, and you're never going to blow the circuit, because once the power's into the grid, as far as I'm aware, you can go infinite. So you don't have to worry at all about your power loads and what have you, as long as you're going sort of like this 1-to-1 ratio with things. So don't worry about the power. That's very simple. So anyway, that all being said, let's get on and let's get this set up. Let's get another couple of pumps in here. How many? We've got 8, so we can go another 7 pumps. Now we're going to run out of room very quickly. So we'll just get piped up what we can pipe up. Maybe expand the land out a little bit. So let's inventory, pumps. And these should just hook in. Lovely jubbly. There we go. Now we're going to need to put some power in here. A 5-speed will be absolutely... Well, no, 3-speed should be adequate, actually. Let's just have a quick look. At the moment, you see our pipeline speed is 30. If I pop a 3-speed on there, 5-speed, I've got a 5-speeder. 5-speed there. Get some power in there. I went quiet then. I was actually listening to something on my other channel. Switch you on. Okay, that's great. So the first thing we're going to do is I want to put a left-hand turn on there. Doop, 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 doop. Where's my left? Left. Lovely. Merger in there. We've got to put a right-hander on there. No, actually, I don't want to do that. Not thinking. Think. What I'm going to do here is I think we're going to expand out a little bit so I can get at least 2 more pumps in. Actually, no, I want to dig there. What I'm going to do, is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, I think I'm going to bring a digger up here and I'm going to do a bit of diggy dig. Then I've got nowhere to dump anything. Alright, so I want to clear some land out quickly. Let's get us some Draymet. Oh, what's it called? Draymite, that's it. So let's get 20 of those. Let's get 100 of those, actually. Let's go and get my blaster. Okay, that's quite nice. Get some more Draymite in. And let's blow that lot. Nice. Now we're getting there. Just clean this bit out. I think I might just actually have found a natural coal seam here. Let's just get rid of that. We have actually found a natural coal seam. So I'm actually blowing up the thing I want, which is not a smart move. Concrete block. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's take these out, put blocks in. Let's fill the rest of this in with coal that we've just destroyed. And I'll get back to you when I've done that. Okay, so that's our new coal bunker built. That little bit of coal over here wasn't very much in the end. It was just a patch about that big. Went through it very quickly. So let's get on with this. We're piping. I've moved everything. So now I want a right and a merger. Doopy doopy doop. No, I want a right. To left. And merger. And right. Let's see how that works out anyway. I want to put a left on there. No, right. I want a 4. 2. So here, I'm going to want to put a left in. I'm just going to put a straight 2 on there for the time being. Okay, and now I want to put a right on there. And I want to put a merger. Let's get the merger up this end. There we go. And I want a straight 2. There we go. And then here I want to put a right. The merger on you. Go left in here. And a merger. And a 4. And we want to take you. Right. So what have we got going on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's our 7. And I want to do a right and a straight 8. And a straight 8. Oh, how are we going to do this? Now, why have I come one more out here? Okay, I think I've figured out what we need to do. What we need is, let's take this out. I want to put a merger in here. I want a straight 2. And there we pop it straight 2 in. Fine, so let's have a look at this now. And I want to put a merger in there. No, don't want to pat it. I want to kill it. Purchase merger. No, I don't. I'll delete this one. 3. Kill you. Put a straight 2 in. And then here I want the merger, which I should just have got. Pop a straight 6 in. Okay, that's that all hooked up. That should be our pipe work. So what we need to do now is we need to come down here. Let's just have a quick work out what's going on here. I've got 40 barrels coming in from that. 1, 2, 40 barrels. That's absolutely correct. So I should only have 40 barrels coming in from here. That's fine, 200. And here I have 160 and 40. That's our 200. That's working perfectly. Now I need to get pumps. In pumps, I haven't got any on me. I think I have some in storage. Pumps. There we go. I've got 7 of them actually. Let's get these fellas in. And there. And there. One there. One there. You see, our power grid is supplying absolutely as much power as we need for this. And we'll put one there. Let's just check all those new pumps are producing. 20. 20. 20. 60 barrels coming out there. That's absolutely fine. 40 there. So 140 barrels there. So that's 60 and 80, that's 140. So we should have a full 300 barrels going through here now. And there's our 300 barrels. That is it all working. And that is brilliant. How long have I... 32 minutes. Okay. Just do a little... another thing. Now this... let's get back to this that I was talking about. The 10 speed fella. That is okay where it is, I suppose. I guess it's not too difficult to get to. So maybe I won't worry about that in this, and I'll just end up here. That is as big. Well, it's not as big because there is another trick you can do. I don't know if it's it goes against. Remember, every time you put a refiner into a circuit, you effectively drop the barrelage, the amount of oil, down by a factor of 10. So if you've got 300 coming in, you've got 30 barrels coming out. So what you could do is separate each of these with a refinery. Anyway, let's go and have a look to see how much we are producing now. Well, we've utterly filled that tank up. We've almost filled this one up. Look at that number going up. That's crazy. what we do, I need to take a photograph of this for my thumbnail. And there we go. So that's my thumbnail. That's pretty impressive. I'm quite pleased with that. Everything's in a nice, neat straight line. We're producing a hell of a lot of oil. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cash up. Let's do the little one first. Because that's been plodding away. That might actually be full now. No, not quite. Well, it's doing well. So let's just grab all of this. 103.5 I'm starting with. I just went and got a mouse mat. Oh, that's so much nicer with a proper mouse mat. Well, it's not. It's just a piece of foam rubber that looks like a mouse mat. Let's get myself a good one. Something sexy. Something fun to look at. Something to pretty the desk up a little bit. God. Amazing that making money can be so boring. You sit here just doing this. Why can't I just select all of it? Can't do that, can I? No. Anyway, so that's that much in. I'm not even looking at the money at the moment. Given this is my small storage bin. Get rid of that and come back in here. Even while I'm doing that, I'm still making more oil on that little one. That's only a little one. So let's come up here. Let's try not to get underneath the tank. And I've already got another 160 barrels of a pit, and another 32, and another 32, and another 32. What is that? 32 times 64. That's 2,000 bucks every second. Just keeps appearing in my inventory. So let's sell that. There should be a faster way of doing this. But then I guess it probably does work out, because if you are fiddling around and you happen to hit the wrong thing, you might end up selling something quite expensive, and that would be unfortunate if you were still at the lower end of the game and every penny counts. There's a lot of oil saved up in these tanks. Okay, so that's that. But we haven't finished yet, guys, because there's something I not told you about. I've been playing around with the old oil thing for a little while now. And my first oil site that I did, I built down here. And it looks a little bit like this. So there's my other oil site, which has been running now for quite a few hours. And you might notice that it kind of floats in space, which I think's rather fun. So, I mean, if you don't believe me about building without a coal seam, well, there you go. You can't deny that. You can walk underneath it. Okay, the coal is seeping through the floor, but I guess that's what coal does. And there we go. Now, the nodding donkeys aren't lined up very well on this because I was only messing about. And they didn't have to line up. I was just proving the theory. And that's what I meant about you have to fill in all the gaps, because the reason, say, these two and that one are hanging over the edge is because there's an air pocket in the coal seam and they just don't want to work. But I think we've just demonstrated up the top that it will work if you spend a little bit of time getting it right. But anyway, what we have down here is and I bet this one's full as well. Yep, absolutely full. So this whole rig that I'm running here is not it's producing again now. Let's get this emptied out. Let's see what we have at the end of this. Yeah, I was already up to another 4,000 barrels. Just selling my oil, I made 4,000 barrels worth of oil. That is just insane. Well, I haven't sold all my oil yet. I've still got... We've done that. How many are we up to now? Ah. Something gone wrong? Alright, let's just nip back up to our new place. Because it's been a couple of minutes since I've been down here. And let's just see what we've produced up here. In that short space of time. Take the long way round. Oh, look at all those lovely little engines pumping money out of the ground for me. Superb. Excelsior even. Add in here. Good God. Already generated 12,000 barrels of oil, which is nothing to be sniffed at. So we were at 103.5 million. We're now at 221 million. Quick math off the top of my head, that's 117.5 million quid just on oil. Now, fair enough. That's been going on for hours and hours and hours to get to this stage. But there we go. Well, anyway, once again, thanks Edwin for chasing me up on doing this. I wouldn't have bothered probably. But that was good fun getting all of that working. And I'm glad I've sorted out the problem with the pipage and the power supplies. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this fun, interesting, and please do hit the like button if you like it. It means a lot to me because of YouTube has changed the way it's doing things these days. And I only really get noticed by YouTube if you hit the like button or you subscribe to my channel if you would like to see other content I've done. If you really don't like this, hit the dislike button. It still hits YouTube and it lets me know that you don't like what I'm doing. Please leave a comment. I do like getting back to people. I love chatting. And if you hit the dislike button, please leave a comment as to why you hit the dislike button. It will help me to improve and make things better and more interesting for you guys if you choose to watch. Anyway, thank you so much. Take care. See you soon. Bye.